Hello again, this is Aaron Fink from Grapple City Rewind. If you like what you hear on this episode, give us a follow, leave us a review on whatever platform you listen, or cut a promo on us by calling 626-657-SLAM. It'll go a long way in helping us to be discovered by more wrestling fans like you. Cue that music.
Hello, and welcome to Grapple City Rewind, taking you all the way back to the iconic pay-per-views and television specials that shaped professional wrestling history. This week, we're taking it back, all the way back, 40 years back to the golden era, 1985, December 28th. That was Thanksgiving of that year for a NWA show known as Starrcade 85, The Gathering. We're talking true 1985 grit, dark arenas, dim lighting, real lo-fi presentation, big names, big holiday game day feel, more blood than you'd expect for something out of the golden era, and the technology of alternating live venues. So it was in two venues at once. I'll tell you all about it later. There was a lot of matches. There's a lot to break into. But before we go back and rewind to 1985, we are going to talk a little bit of current product. I'm Bradley Palermo here, as always, with Aaron Fink. And Aaron, I guess the first thing on my mind I wanted to talk about was AEW's Full Gear was last night. And was this past weekend, and we had some title changes.
Yeah.
The big one is Hangman Adam Page lost his World Heavyweight Championship to Samoa Joe.
He did, yeah. I was definitely a little surprised by that. I mean, short reign for Hangman, not necessarily a problem. I think as is the case with a lot of baby faces, the real excitement comes from chasing a title.
So true.
And I feel like once they have it, it's not as exciting. You know, it probably is easiest for me to look back on current product stuff. So like biggest example would be Cody, you know, with WrestleMania 39 and 40. It was just so exciting to see if he was actually going to do it. And then when he did at WrestleMania 40, it was like, holy shit, this is like the greatest moment I've ever seen.
I mean, I think that was the only time I cried watching wrestling that I can remember, you know? So yeah, that was for a good moment.
And then once it happened and he was champion, I honestly, just my opinion, I just don't think any of his defenses and feuds have really been all that fantastic, I guess.
Cody's, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I liked the stuff with, I liked the SummerSlam match with Cena. Thought that was really good. But yeah, all his other defenses have kind of been whatever. And so the same thing kind of applies with Hangman. When they were building this up, Hangman versus Moxley at All In this year, I was super into it, especially because Moxley had a stranglehold on the belt for, I think, over a year. And we hadn't even seen the actual belt itself that entire time. So there was a lot going for him. And when he won, it was a huge moment. And ever since then, it's been like, oh yeah, okay. I mean, you know, he hasn't even had that many defenses. I think he wrestled MJF maybe once, which was pretty good. And then he wrestled Joe, and I think that might have been it until this match. So this probably is going to be more interesting in general. I know maybe you're not the biggest fan of Joe, but I like Joe a lot. I think even at his age of 47 or wherever he's at, he's still pretty solid in the ring. And more than that, I think he just knows a lot about how to do things right, whether he's a comedic babyface, whether he's a tough heel, whether he's something in between. He's always just kind of himself, which you could, I guess, make an argument as not being very interesting. But to me, I've always liked him. I liked him a lot in Black and Gold NXT and TNA and Ring of Honor. So
yeah, I'll tell you why I don't like Joe. I think he doesn't have a personality. There isn't a lot of dynamics there with his personality. He does just play himself.
Well, he's just Joe.
Kind of like a sports-based guy. But I think that kind of works if you're really intimidating. I don't find him particularly entertaining. To me, he's like Goldberg without muscles. To me, he's like, and without, you know, he's just a fat guy that has one sort of note, low voice. I'm going to beat the shit out of you. Okay. I hope he's a transitional champion, because I think you need someone. There's all these people that have so much more personality, right? MJF has a lot of range in his promos. I think wrestling is 90% personality. Joe in the ring, yeah, it's fine. he slaps the shit out of people. I don't think that whatever he does in the ring makes up for the fact that he doesn't work, I guess what you'd say, big. He's not looking out in the crowd up and big and getting the roars, and the entrance isn't big, and the personality is definitely not there for me. But you don't have a lot of big names around in AEW right now. Danielson's gone. MJF's been off television. Ospreay's injured.
We got Swerve back.
You got Swerve back. That's good. I thought Hangman had a boring personality until he won the title off of Moxley. And I feel like his match with Ospreay leading to that and everything, like, it just gave me a lot of love for Hangman that I didn't know I'd ever have. Not that I needed him to keep the title forever. It's fine that he dropped it to Joe. I just really don't see how I could possibly be that interested in Joe going forward for too long. I don't know. I need a little bit more flashiness than Joe can give me.
I don't mind him. I just, I honestly would prefer that he's not transitional, because if you make him transitional, I mean, okay, let me clarify. If he's transitional and it's like a 6-month program, that I think that would be fine.
That's fine.
But if it's like 3 months, I feel like it's kind of a waste. Like if you're just taking it off of Hangman to put it on Swerve in like 2 or 3 months, I don't know. It doesn't really do that much for me. And I actually kind of disagree. I mean, maybe he hasn't gotten to express the different ranges of his personality in AEW very much, but he can do that. Like, he can do that menacing thing where he talks in a really monotone voice, but then he gets really loud and angry and crazy. And I guess maybe we just don't see that much dichotomy here. But yeah, the match itself to me was only okay as well. I think maybe that's part of it. For the 13 matches that were on this card, I really only enjoyed 3 of them like a lot.
Yeah, it's good to see FTR have the belts back. Those are my favorite. That's my favorite tag team probably of all time. I don't care.
Yeah, and that was a really good match. Even though we're supposed to hate them, it was. Yeah, I think they do good things with the tag titles, and they're definitely doing very heelish things right now. I enjoyed that match quite a bit. I enjoyed the Kyle Fletcher and Mark Briscoe match as well. And then I liked Statlander versus Monet. Those are my 3 favorites.
Briscoe having TNT titles pretty cool, because you got to elevate that guy. Eventually he needs to probably be in a world title picture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe against Joe, that could be cool. But
yeah, maybe against Joe. But if MJF were to say ever become world champion again at AEW, Briscoe having beat him, that could be like a really cool match with a big title. I feel like you have a secondary title now. You could potentially go to the main title picture.
Yeah, because this is his first singles title in AEW. I think, right?
I think so. So I'm excited for that. I'm glad that Chris Statlander held on to her title, because I think a win over Mercedes was elevating for her. And I think Mercedes, her heel gimmick of just collecting, I think she's up to 14 titles now. That's good enough for her. I mean, that's funny. It's aggravating. It keeps her heelish. She can lose in the world championship title over and over again. And I don't know, people still want to see it.
I mean, on the one hand, you could make the argument that Mercedes winning on Saturday was like the natural progression of the story. But at the same time, I agree, she doesn't need it. She's already asserted her dominance over the entire world. Mm-hmm. One thing that I heard, I think maybe it was on Busted Open. I don't remember if it was from one of the hosts or from one of the callers, but they had an interesting idea, which is like Mercedes loses to Stat, which she did. And then she's like, I'll put up all of my other belts to face you again.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
And I thought that's kind of like a cool way to get out of her having to travel to 12 different wrestling companies to lose those belts.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Before we talk about Survivor Series predictions for this weekend, WWE, I just want to check back in on what Bret Hart has been up to. I don't know if you saw on the dirt sheets what he said this past week on a podcast. About Sean and Vince.
Oh yeah, are you gonna play it?
Here, I got the clip. Yeah, hold on here. Let me see. This is from the Johnny Pro show this past week. Whatever that is.
I think that Sean and Vince were sleeping with each other. I honestly, I'm just telling you, I think I'm very close to the truth here. Is that Sean and Vince were lovers, and that's why I'm being dead honest, and I'm telling you.
We all know what the H stands for.
I just, when I look back, it's like I got caught between two lovers, and I got shafted and screwed over, and Sean was so envious and jealous of my position that he finally had to sleep with Vince to get it. And
My God,
I tell you, I say all this with absolute. I would say it to Sean if he was right here. I would actually like to have Sean come clean and say, "Look, we were lovers," because I'm sure they were. I have an absolute 100%. If I saw either Vince or Sean here, I would say I think you guys were lovers.
I've been reading Bret Hart's book, Hitman, from 2007. That guy's a lot more wild than I thought.
my God.
A lot of his book is just like, and then we picked up some ring rats and there were heads bobbing up and down in every seat. It's just like okay, I thought Bret Hart was a little more wholesome than when I'm reading his book. He's
Wow.
a pretty wild dude. But yeah, I guess he has a new theory on how he got so screwed in the Montreal screw job.
My God.
Because of a sexual thing between Sean and Vince. I'm surprised they even let Bret Hart on the video games and stuff anymore, that he has a Legends deal or whatever he has to still be selling stuff through WWE. That just shows how important he is to the history of wrestling, because I think most companies would just consider that a burnt bridge by now, but it's funny.
It might be a burnt bridge now. Who knows?
It could be if he keeps digging in, but
yeah, it's a pretty wild accusation.
He's a pretty angry guy. He's awesome, and it's fucking funny when he tears into people, but he is pretty bitter, dude. I don't have any more on that. I don't know if you have a response beyond. I think we can just move forward.
I just we can move forward. I'm just very I'm speechless.
So Survivor Series is coming up this Saturday, and it's in San Diego. I'm going to head down there, check it out live. It's only 4 matches. If you want to just go ahead, we could probably give our quick predictions on that before we get into the rewind.
Yeah, let's do it. We've got men's War Games match, CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, the Usos, and Roman Reigns versus Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre, and Brock Lesnar.
I'm going to say the heels win, and it's due to some internal shenanigans on the babyface side, setting up some kind of world championship feud. Like maybe Roman Reigns gets pissed off and, starts taking swings at one of the champs, Punk or Cody or whatever.
Yeah, that's definitely plausible. It could just as easily be Jay, getting pissed off at Punk. I mean, I know that they've been taught, on camera and in storyline, they've sort of put their differences aside. They've always been friends, but, Punk beat Jay to get the belt. So,
right.
Yeah, there's definitely lots of opportunity for infighting amongst the baby faces. That seems fair. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the heels win this one.
Right. And then on the women's War Games match, we have Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair, and AJ Lee as the babyface team versus the heel team of Nia Jax, Lash Legend, and the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane, and Becky Lynch. And I'm going to say
babyface team.
Yeah, opposite on this one. On this one, babyfaces win. And I mean, probably maybe some infighting on the heel side. But really, I think it's just why not, right? If you're going to have the heels win on the men's side, I just don't really see how this sets up any future feuds.
Probably, I mean, it might not. I don't know. Rhea and Io have been feuding with Asuka and Kairi already. Alexa and Charlotte have been feuding sort of with Nia and Lash, and then AJ and Becky have been sort of feuding, even though they haven't had a singles match against one another. So that's all the pieces are kind of in place already. I mean, I would assume that AJ and Becky, they're probably going to have a WrestleMania match, would be my guess.
Yeah,
because they're taking their sweet ass time with their rivalry. So
Yeah, and it can just be it can set that up, and it can just be kind of a feel good win of all of our big female good guy stars, kicking ass and winning. I mean, it never hurts to just have the good guys win and everyone cheer, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then we've also got John Cena versus Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship. I don't think there's any doubt that Dom is going to win the belt back here.
It's going to be a great moment. Dominic Mysterio wins back the Intercontinental Champion in John Cena's penultimate match in Dominic Mysterio's hometown of San Diego. It's going to be like, let's go Cena, let's go Dom. Split crowd. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I also think that there's...
You think he's going to win clean? He's probably not going. Well,
he can't win clean. He's one of the few guys that we like to see cheat. You know,
the question is, will he cheat on his own or will he cheat with Judgment Day? Because I do feel like over the last month or so, he's kind of become estranged from Finn and JD and the other Judgment Day people.
Yeah, I don't know if Judgment Day needs Dom or Dom needs them anymore. Dom's so elevated at this point.
Mm-hmm. He definitely doesn't need them anymore. I think they probably need him, but they certainly aren't acting like they want him around.
Right. So, yeah, we could be wrong, but it feels like this card is just almost too easy to call. Including this other announced match, Women's World Championship, Stephanie Vaquer versus Nikki Bella. I think there's no way in hell you're going to put you're going to take the belt from Stephanie and give it to a legend like Nikki. Nikki's not, very good in the ring these days, and she's a big name. She doesn't need the championship. Stephanie needs to fortify her reign by knocking down legends right now, and I just don't see any way but her to retain. What do you think on that one?
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, I will disagree that Nikki has consistently been bad in the ring since she's gotten back. She was a little rocky at the beginning, but she has gotten better. Like anything, she needs reps and she doesn't wrestle very often. So I've noticed an improvement in the matches that she's had in the last few weeks as opposed to the matches that she had 6 months ago or whenever it was that she first returned. But I do agree it would be really shocking if she won. And if she did, I guess that would be fine if Stephanie could get it back from her in a month or something, or 2 months. But
yeah, it could buy us a little feud for a little while. Yeah,
it wouldn't hurt. Sometimes I feel like I'm okay with people holding belts for long periods of time. But the thing about the way WWE has been doing it, and really AEW tends to do it too, they just don't have a ton of matches for the belts. And it's just a little underwhelming. I love Stephanie and I want her to be champion. I just wish that she would defend it a little bit more. And that doesn't mean that she has to win all of them. Honestly, I have no problem with championships ping-ponging back and forth between people. If anything, that makes it more exciting and unpredictable. So who knows? It probably makes sense to just keep it on Stephanie to continue to build her up because she is very talented. She is very popular. And Nikki Bella certainly doesn't need a belt. But if she's a heel and she's got the world championship, that's not a bad thing either. So I'm going to agree. I think Stephanie will retain, but I also wouldn't be upset if Nikki beat her because then it would create a little bit more stakes in their rivalry, I think.
And now it's time for the rewind.
All right. This episode, we are rewinding to November 28th, 1985, Thanksgiving of that year for Starrcade, 1985, The Gathering. That was an NWA production. Greensboro Coliseum and Omni Coliseum in Atlanta, Georgia. We're splitting back and forth between two venues. We had an attendance of 30,000 combined between both cities. Commentary was the late, great Bob Caudle, who died last week. And he was in Greensboro on this. Tony Schiavone was in Atlanta. Johnny Weaver, Tom Miller were in there somewhere. By the way, Bob Caudle passed away last week at 95 years old. So he was already old in 1985. I mean, and it's really sad. I mean, his wife of 76 years died 7 months ago. So he just finished out his last few months without her. And that's heartbreaking. And we've seen a lot of Bob Caudle on this show, or since we've been watching a lot of old stuff. And I think maybe at first I was like, what's up with this guy? You know, but he's so sports based, so plays it so straight.
Mhm.
And I really do enjoy his commentary. So thanks to Bob Caudle for all the years of pro wrestling that you gave us. The intro was hard rock, instrumental, disco ball style, retro stuff. Like I said, they're alternating city to city. There was a national anthem that was pre-recorded and extremely extended with intros and outros, which is pretty funny. But I guess it gave it that big show feel.
Yeah.
The first match was the Mid-Atlantic Heavyweight Championship. Is Mid-Atlantic, that's one of the territories, right?
Yeah, it was.
So, okay, yeah. But it's Crusher Khrushchev versus Sam Houston, who was the Mid-Atlantic Heavyweight Champion. It was, what do you want to say about this one? It's slow, old school mat wrestling. It's a loud crowd. The ref is like 80 years old in a yellow jumpsuit. It's like kind of like an Elvis jumpsuit. Yeah.
It was a little slow, a lot of holds and submissions, occasional strikes. I wrote down it was kind of boring, but the crowd was super into it. They were chanting USA for Sam. Sam is like the young, spry baby face. I noticed there was such sparse commentary, not only for this match, but pretty much the entire show.
Yeah.
It was kind of disorienting at first because I'm so used to constant talking from 90s to now, WWF, WWE, AEW.
Right.
They just never shut up. So
blowhards, yeah.
It was weird at first, but by the end I was like, I actually kind of like letting things breathe.
Do you know who Crusher Khrushchev is?
No, I mean, I know of him as Crusher Khrushchev, but did he wrestle as somebody else?
Yeah, it's Smash from Demolition and Repo Man.
Oh,
he's from Minneapolis, not Russia. Which later we'll get a promo from him where he does not even try to not sound Midwestern.
Yeah, I did laugh at that. I was like, he doesn't even have a Russian accent at all.
And Sam Houston, do you know who Sam Houston is?
Mm-mm.
Son of Grizzly Smith and brother of Jake the Snake Roberts.
Okay.
So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's a 9-minute match, and it essentially a bad call. The ref doesn't see
Houston's foot on the rope. Yeah.
Right. And Crusher wins the belt off of Sam.
They even, it's funny because Sam Houston hit a bulldog on Crusher and was gonna pin him, but Crusher got his foot on the rope, and the ref saw that one.
I saw that one.
Didn't see the one that happened like a minute later. It was like, oh, come on, man. I don't think anybody had the belt. I think it was to crown the inaugural Mid-Atlantic champion. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I missed that in the notes. I was like, well, if it's a new champion, then Sam must have been the champion. But my bad. I stand corrected. Meltzer gave that 1.5 star, which I don't know what his rating system was for the early 80s.
I mean, it wasn't that bad.
I think it was a little more stingy at the beginning.
Yeah, I guess so.
But I thought it was much better than that. But this is the kind of wrestling I really do like. Like people are taking it seriously. The commentary's serious. The guys are big and tough, and the footage is gritty. I just takes me to a time period that I'm not really nostalgic for because I wasn't watching when I was a baby, but it still just feels kind of like a magical time, the golden era. So I like these kind of slow big man matches.
I like some of
that
them.
Era.
Yeah. It's sometimes it can be a little too slow for me. Yeah. I think maybe this was one of them where it was just a little bit too slow, just a few too many like rest hold kind of things where it's like, okay, they're catching their breath. But it wasn't, I don't think it was a 1.5 or whatever he gave it.
The second match was a Mexican death match, sombrero on a pole.
Yeah. What a ridiculous.
Manny Raging Bull Fernandez versus Abdullah the Butcher, which is just kind of cool to see Abdullah. When in the Bret Hart book I'm reading, he talks about when Abdullah was in
Stampede,
and he said when
crazy shit.
And Bret Hart said, when he was a kid, he wasn't smart to the business, but he'd go to the shows.
He kicked him.
And he said that, well, I don't know about that, but he said that he would see, all he knew is that in the house, Abdullah was Abby.
Right.
And he was like, Abby would beat the shit out of my dad, like, you know, and do all this horrible shit. And then he's like, I'm just sitting on the couch and the doorbell rings. And I look out the door and I'm like, holy fuck, it's Abby. Like, and he, like the night before, I would see him get his
Coming to pick up his check. Yeah.
beat the shit out of his dad. And yeah, he's picking up his check. And
So
he's like, what is going on here? Yeah.
I was watching Tales from the Territories like a few weeks ago, and they were doing an episode on Stampede, and Brett, he told the story, I think it was about Abdullah, when he was a kid, he would be in the front row, and Abdullah was either wrestling his dad or he was wrestling one of Brett's older brothers, and he was by the railing, and Brett like kicked him in the back like 3 times, and Abdullah turned around and like stared at him but didn't do anything, and he's like I think I almost shit my pants, like I don't know what I was thinking. And then I guess Abby later was like talking to Stu, he was like, you better smarten up your kid, because I don't think it was he hadn't learned what's going on yet. He's like, I can't beat up your child.
So Abby comes out already bleeding, or Abdullah comes out already bleeding.
And then stabs Manny in the face with a fork in like the first 5 seconds.
Yeah. Manny was trained by Terry Funk, and he kind of fights like it. You can tell. Old ladies and children in the crowd, big reactions from them. Manny's got his boot off. He's pounding the shit out of Abdullah with that.
I'm pretty sure he actually stabbed Manny in the face with the fork, like for real, because he immediately started bleeding.
Yeah. And I noticed too, like some of these old school matches, because you see them blade, now it's usually someone gets thrown out of the ring, and then while the heel or whatever is showing his muscles and getting a crowd reaction.
But they were like in the center of the ring, like stabbing themselves real quick. I saw them.
They kind of act like they're trying to defend themselves from some sort of like hold. And like they're trying to peel your hands off of their foreheads. But you see, really, they're not really trying to get rid of your hand. They're just stabbing the shit out of themselves, blood everywhere. It's like, yeah, it was kind of cool to see how it was different back then with the blading and stuff. Manny managed to suplex Abdullah. He's like 400 fucking pounds. That was kind of
impressive.
The ref stays outside of the ring during this. Probably for the best.
Can't say that I blame him. Yeah.
And but yeah, you had to retrieve a sombrero from a pole, which I think anything on a pole, you know, especially Viagra on a pole has been a thing, I believe, in the Russo era.
That was a Vince Russo creation.
Yeah, anything on a pole is it's kind of whatever. But I guess I don't really love the gimmick for sure. But it's cool to see Abdullah and Manny. And
it's fine when you just do it occasionally. I mean, if you just have pole matches all the time, like anything else, it gets tiring.
Right. But Manny Fernandez did retrieve the sombrero, and he won this match against Abdullah the Butcher for a 0.5 star rating from Dave Meltzer, which is crazy to me also. It's like, what?
Why? Maybe just, I don't know, whatever.
I guess he hated this shit.
I don't know. Well, third match was a Texas bull rope match. Black Bart with J.J. Dillon in his corner versus Cowboy Ron Bass. And the stipulation of this, besides like the fact that there's no rules, you use the bull rope, is that if Ron Bass wins, he gets to have a 5-minute bull rope match against J.J. Dillon. This was at the first point where I noticed like Shivani talking like this through his nose. And I was like, what are you doing, Tony? Yeah. It felt like such an affectation.
Tony Schiavone, he doesn't ever feel too authentic to me. It sounds like this is just something he ended up with. But
I mean, he's a little better in the 80s than he is now. He's much better in the 80s than he is now.
I think watching AEW this last weekend during the pay-per-view, I know he's always talks about how awesome this is. Guys, this just really is great. It really is.
I'm having a great time.
This really is. And I was just like, okay, dude, you are better back then, but I feel like I see through him. I feel like he's just it's not legit, man. He doesn't have it.
Ron Bass was hitting Black Bart in the head with the bell on this Texas bull rope repeatedly, busts him open. Eventually, Ron gets busted open, so both men are bleeding. And this was pretty much just like a back and forth slugfest, hitting each other with the bell. Not a lot of flash and glitz and glam on this one either. But Ron Bass got the win, so he got to have a quick little match with J.J. Dillon. And this is when, my God, the crowd went nuts seeing J.J.
They must have really hated J.J. Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing, like, the heels were really hated back then, even though I think most people probably knew that it wasn't real. exactly, they still were down to hate the people that they wanted you to hate.
Right. JJ Dillon, he's the manager of Black Bart, but looks like a random shirtless dad that just jumped into the ring. I mean, he doesn't have a physique or he's just a hairy, pale guy, flabby, pale guy, and
very famous heel manager from this time period, managed a lot of really famous heels. So it makes sense that he was hated. And yeah, the crowd really loved to see JJ get his comeuppance. But it didn't last long because there was a ref bump, and then Black Bart interferes in this extra match, hits Ron Bass with a pile driver, and drags JJ on top. So JJ Dillon beats Cowboy Ron Bass in a teeny tiny little 3.5 minute match
for a dud rating from Meltzer, and a 1 on the previous match where it was Bass versus Bart. Gave it a 1 star. We skipped the Crusher Khrushchev, whatever you say, post-match promo. 0 Russian accent whatsoever. He's just like, yeah, so I just won the match and I'm the best and I'm from Russia and Russia's the greatest. I was like, what the fuck? This is not. I mean, clearly nobody ever thought or ever heard or met anyone from Russia at this point. I think he was trained by all the Koloff dudes and stuff, and they all stuck to kayfabe Russian accents. He didn't even have a Russian accent when he was on television. So that was pretty lame. But a fourth match was a match and an arm wrestling match between Superstar Billy Graham and the Barbarian with Paul Jones. Superstar Billy Graham, for those of you that don't know, is where Hulk Hogan stole everything: his moves, his look,
the gimmick,
his energy. Yeah, the entire gimmick.
This is like the loudest that the crowd has been yet. Like even just for the arm wrestling. Like, holy crap, dude! They were so on the side of Superstar Billy Graham.
It would have been cool to be there. It just seemed like one of those events where it's just beer and people shouting and sweat, and it was probably an uncomfortable temperature of either too hot or too cold in there. I don't know. It's just,
and it was Thanksgiving, so maybe everyone had already. I don't know if people already ate their dinners early and then came to watch some wrestling.
Yeah, how do you get people to come out to a wrestling show on Thanksgiving? It's like, well, I guess the whole family's coming out, and we're not gonna have turkey. I don't know.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy is it's like you can hear kids, women, you can see older people in the audience. Like, I'm not even kidding. I'm pretty sure there was blood in every single match on this card. Every single match.
Oh yeah, this thing rivals anything modern. GCW, AEW, like I couldn't believe how much blood there was for 1985. I didn't know that wrestling was this dirty back then. But this was a blood, but it was also like you said, the crowd was crazy for the arm wrestling segment. The arm wrestling segment was surprisingly entertaining. It seemed like Billy Graham wasn't gonna get it, even though his arm is way fucking bigger than the Barbarians. And he really did sell it like a near loss, and then, pulls through at the last minute. The match itself, devolves into bear hugs and blood. And I think Billy Graham won by disqualification, right?
He did, yeah. Barbarian had a manager, Paul Jones, and I think he came in and hit Billy Graham with his cane or something.
Yeah.
His walking stick. But they kept fighting after the bell anyway. They went outside the ring.
For 1/4 of a star from Dave Meltzer.
Man, what is up with Dave in the 80s?
He hated this shit, it seems like.
Grumple Stiltskin.
I pretty much would give all these matches acceptable numbers so far.
Yeah, I'd give them 2s or higher at least.
Yeah.
Then we had Terry Taylor versus the Nature Boy Buddy Landel for the NWA National Heavyweight Championship. What's up with Nature Boy Buddy Landel? Is he just like Ric Flair's number 2? He's got the same fucking gimmicks, the flashy robe, the walking and the hair it's weird.
Yeah, so Nature Boy Buddy Landel, his gimmick was that he was a rip-off Flair. That was on purpose to get heat, that he was a Flair wannabe. And then before Ric Flair wasn't the original Nature Boy, of course.
It was
Buddy Rogers.
Right.
So there was, so I think it's his name was Buddy, and he's just playing a Ric Flair type thing. I was kind of confused. I had to look it up. I'm like, no, that was part of the heel gimmick.
Part of the shtick, yeah. Dude, Terry Taylor slapped the shit out of Buddy Landel, like right at the beginning. It was so loud and so hard. I was like, oh my God, whoa.
Yeah.
There were some crazy stiff shots in this match.
And just to add to the vibe, like the ring, they're not switching out the mats like they do in AEW. Like those blood stains are just all over the place. Yeah.
And it just gets worse and worse as the show goes on.
3 matches of stains. Yeah. Blood stains. Slow, simple.
A lot of holds and submissions again that I
Headlocks.
felt like were kind of boring, but there were moments where they were really like beating the shit out of each other, and I like that.
Terry Taylor was known for the superplex, and they attributed it to him as if that was his special move. Now you see that in half of all wrestling matches, the superplex off the top rope. But I thought that was interesting. Like, okay, so this era was more about bear hugs and headlocks and chops. I guess the superplex was a special thing that was kind of. It probably wasn't another one on this entire card, other than when Terry Taylor did it as his like
maybe
move.
not. Yeah, and the way that the match ended was actually kind of interesting too, because Terry Taylor was trying to superplex Buddy Landel, and JJ Dillon held Terry Taylor's foot so that Buddy ended up falling onto Taylor and then pinned him and then won the belt. So,
I guess the superplex didn't actually pull off. It was a failed superplex, but yeah.
Yeah, but still super interesting. I like this match. I thought it was probably one of the better ones so far. I mean, they've all been entertaining in their own way, but this one, I was like, oh man, these are some stiff shots,
Yeah, it was good. It was so good that Meltzer gave it 2 stars, which is match of the night so far. Until we get into match 6, the NWA National Tag Team Championship, Minnesota Wrecking Crew, which is Arn and Ole Anderson versus Wahoo McDaniel and Billy Jack Haynes. All these guys are pretty awesome. Old time, big names.
Yeah, I mean, crazy crowd reactions for Wahoo and Billy Jack.
Billy Jack is a massive muscle machine. He's like Brian Cage or something would be now, right? Big ass fucking guy. Andersons are kind of like, they're awesome and kind of like a who's like
Minnesota beer drinking kind of way.
Yeah, and FTR like clearly kind of does a Arn and Ole sort of thing. So it kind of reminds me of like kind of like what I like about FDR today.
Yeah, I like Arn and Tully a bit more than Arn and Ole. Ole's like a little slow for me. This was another one where I wrote down I felt like there were too many rest holds.
We got a referee this time in a real referee outfit. He's not wearing a yellow Elvis jumpsuit or like a Ghostbusters outfit or whatever the hell that was. He's wearing our Jander's outfit. He's wearing a striped shirt like a fucking referee should wear. It was a stiff brawl. I thought it was good tag team psychology. Anderson's retained. To me, it was a solid one. Meltzer gave it 2.25 stars, making it his favorite match of the night so far.
Then we got to a real good one. Tully Blanchard versus Magnum TA for the United States title. This was an I Quit match that was in a steel cage. And this was definitely an old school version of an I Quit match where there is a microphone in the ring and you have to hold it in front of your opponent's face and get them to say, yes, I quit.
Yeah, they got a 58 in there that's wired. Like you got to have all the cables and stuff come out with you. Yeah.
Yeah. And I saw Earl Hebner as the referee, which we've obviously seen many times since then.
Oh, of course.
Super famous referee in WWF, WWE. This one was, so I actually don't think I've ever seen a Magnum TA match before. Obviously I know of him and I've heard about him and how important he was and how a lot of people actually think that Hangman in a way is kind of like a modern Magnum TA.
Interesting.
Cowboy with the blonde hair, with the mustache, real tough guy, not like super. He's like a not a normal white meat baby face. He's kind of like a badass baby face,
Right.
But yeah, both men bleeding very early on, super intense.
They had a fog machine for Tully's entrance, which most of this event is very bare bones. They walk out. It seems like not even really an entrance ramp. It's kind of out of the crowd, out of a corner of the crowd.
Yeah.
But they started to have some sort of presentation starting with this match with some sort of, I don't know if it was a red light or something, but there was smoke and a light. Tully comes out. I was like, okay, this is cool. Tully's got Baby Doll with him. the quote unquote perfect 10. That's her sort of gimmick. But yeah, brutal punches. Everything looks real. This is Magnum TA's final year before his infamous car crash that ruined his career, where he wrapped his Porsche around a telephone pole.
Yeah.
So there was an audible fuck that got bleeped from one of the wrestlers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like Sad Apple's like, fuck. Like you could see him shout it, but then it went beep, which is also for 1985. I'm surprised that there was an audible fuck.
Yeah, this one was very entertaining. Obviously, you know, there's been blood in every single match up until this point, but the one thing that you can say about the blood in this match was it kind of made sense. They were in a steel cage and they started bleeding almost immediately after being smacked into the cage. You know, I like it when it's not that the other bloody moments in the other matches didn't make sense. It's just like by this point I'm like, oh god, blood again, you know, like I get desensitized to it in current day. Like just the 3 matches out of the 13 in Full Gear where there was blood, by the last one I was like, oh, yeah, all right. I mean, I'm my preference is to use it sparingly because then it means more, you know.
Right. I prefer like once a night in some sort of non-DQ match, but
yeah, I'm the same.
I was endlessly amused by just how at this point in this event, I'm like, let's see how much blood we can get on this fucking disgusting mat. Like, let's just bring it on because it's 1985, and I'm just surprised that I'm seeing it at all, let alone the whole line. But yeah, that microphone, they're digging into each other's heads. You know, it's before they kind of figured out how to get the sound of the mic hitting a person's head, I guess, but.
Yeah,
it's like very
they're
like
just screaming no as loud as they can. Like,
say it, no, say it. Yeah, you know, it has a cool energy to it. You know,
yeah, it was intense for sure, and you know, it definitely reached a fever pitch where a chair made its way into the ring. I think maybe Baby Doll threw it in for Tully. Tully like breaks it in a bunch of pieces and like creates a little spike and tries to stab Magnum with it in the face. And the crowd's like screaming, like, screaming bloody murder. And the spike part's like inches away from his face. And Magnum breaks free and he grabs that spike and he really jams it into Tully's head. And then Tully says, I quit. So we got a new champ.
Yeah,
crowd was nuts for this one too.
There was a post-match promo. There's a passionate babyface energy coming from Magnum. You know, the belt is back where it belongs, and I think everyone felt that way. It was cool. And then to continue,
Meltzer better have given this something good.
Oh yes, we shouldn't forget to give the Meltzer rating. This one was high. This was 4.5, which is almost, you know.
Almost perfect.
That's in like the 95. Like it's very rare for Meltzer to give something that high of a rating, but he's really fluctuating big on this card.
Seriously.
The 8th match was the Atlanta Street Fight, which when you were watching this, did you really understand what the fuck city they were in at what time? It just seems like all the same thing to me.
Yeah, I had to keep going to Wikipedia to see like, oh, now they're in the Omni, now they're in Greensboro, because they looked so similar.
It looked like the same. You could have not even told me that it was a different place, and I would have. Yeah, I mean, I would have never known.
They weren't. That was kind of one of the weird things about it is they hyped it up, the fact that they were in 2 different places, but they never really told you like, okay, we're back in the Omni now, or okay, we're back at Greensboro now.
I wonder if they were running dark matches during the off matches, or if they were just playing it on a screen for the like. What does the Atlanta crowd do when they're doing the Greensboro match?
Yeah,
you know, and they're just fucking drinking beer and fighting each other.
Probably, yeah, I wonder if it. Well, I wonder if it really was that both were live at the same exact moment. Because earlier when you said that Shivani was in one place and Caudell was in another, I actually don't think that's true. I think they were both in Greensboro. Oh, okay. Maybe I'm wrong though. I don't know.
I have no idea. It was very confusing, but
yeah.
So we had the Atlanta Street Fight is the Midnight Express, Bobby Eaton, Dennis Condrey with Jim Cornette, and they were going up against Jimmy Valance and Atlanta Lively, which is Ron Garvin in drag.
Yeah, that was God. This was a car crash. I didn't love it. It was like, why is this giant man in drag, and why are the Midnight Express in tuxedos? What is going on?
It wasn't a tuxedo match, but the Midnight Express were wearing tuxedos, and then everyone does get pantsed at some point. They make
Everyone's
sure to
bleeding, all 4 of them.
they make sure to pull down Miss Atlanta Lively's pants so you can see her bulge, just to prove to you that it's. They said there was something fishy about Miss Atlanta Lively, and the Midnight Express were going to expose it. And
I mean, this one was just a mess. They were throwing powder in each other's faces. They were hitting each other with belts.
yeah, it was a total
Cornette
circus.
came in with a tennis racket. I mean, it was a street fight, right? But this was just like such chaos. I could barely even follow what was happening. And
yeah, random weapons, more blood, because God forbid you have any match on this thing without blood. Torn clothes. Ron Garvin's drag thing, it consists of like an ugly sweater, with neon colors and shit, and yellow pants. So Dave Meltzer gave the Atlanta street fight a 2-star.
okay, yeah, it was. I mean, I think this was worse than some of the things that gave 1 star, but whatever.
Yeah, I think so too. But then we can go on to the 9th match, which is the NWA World Tag Team Championship, also in a steel cage. Rock and Roll Express. I always get the Midnight Express, Rock and Roll Express, and who's in what confused a little bit. But Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson versus Ivan and Nikita Koloff, who were the champions. And
Rock and Roll are the baby faces always. You can't get them confused with Midnight. Midnight's always heels.
Yeah, right. And then they were with their buddy Crusher Khrushchev on the outside.
I really, really like this one. This might have been my match of the night. There was so much blood again. It's crazy. It still blows my mind how much blood there was in this pay-per-view. But I thought this one was great. And it was really interesting to see that it was like a normal tag match, except for the fact that there were no rules and it was in a steel cage. But they were, the partners were actually on the outside of the ring, like waiting to be tagged in and stuff.
Weird.
Yeah. It was
really weird because they would count them, right? Like when they tag, the ref would count, you need to get out of the ring.
Yeah.
But there were no rules. And I feel like if there's no rules in a tag team match, then it's a tornado tag.
Kind of.
I don't know.
I mean, what was really interesting to me is commentary mentioned that
they mentioned it.
Yeah, well, not only did they mention that, but normally they say tag matches back then can only have 1 save from a team member. Like when someone's being pinned, when your teammate's being pinned, apparently you were only allowed 1 time to come into the ring when you weren't the legal man and break up the pin. But because it was no DQ, they could do it as often as they want. I never knew that was a thing back then, because that happens all the time now.
Well, my understanding. Well, have you ever read the NWA rulebook from 1974?
No.
It's pretty small, but one of the things is a tag team should only have 1 save. And
Interesting.
I don't know what the official rules are now in WWE and stuff, but I don't think you usually see people do a save multiple times in a match. And
maybe it's just in AEW that I see it all the time.
You'll see it once, but I feel like, and this isn't really based on anything, but I do get a feeling that if you've done that, there's kind of less likely they're gonna try it twice, or they're going to if they do it again, it's gonna be not in that session. It's gonna be your partner does it for you after you've tagged in once. But on the video game 2K25, when you do the tag matches, I don't think you can just walk. I think the computer will stop you from jumping in the ring if you've already done it in that session. Because there's on the nerdy shit I play in my faction or whatever against the people online, it's the session right now is tag teams. And if you want, you can just come in while the computer's fighting your opponent and double team the guy, but it's not going to work again a few minutes later. You kind of get once to have. So that is a thing. I don't know exactly what promotions, what years, what rules, but yeah, obviously they're following some kind of rules here, even though there are none. Which, why is there a tag at all if there's no rules? That's all. There's more blood. There's a lot more blood. This is a cage.
This is a definite brawl, and the heels were definitely doing heel things. They're cheating very often. Whenever one of the Rock and Roll Express was trying to get into the ring to help their partner, they would the Russians would get the guy who was legal in their corner and do some kind of double team move, and crowd was friggin' nuts, just yelling and screaming because they love the rock and roll.
And it's, the Cold War, so having Russians in there, having your favorite babyface Rock and Roll Express, and then versus some Russians, everyone's just fuck the Russians.
Yeah.
But Rock and Roll wins, and they win the belts. And
this is such a loud pop. Holy shit, dude. My God.
Yeah, it was solid. 12 minutes in and out of there. Cage, tag teams, big names. It was good. But then in the post match, the Russians beat down Gibson because Morton jumped his ass out of the cage.
Mhm.
Gibson was stuck in there, with chains and big moves from the Russians. They fucking beat the piss out of that guy.
Would Dave give this one? Hopefully a good one.
3 stars.
Okay. And then we came to the main event, what we were all waiting for. Dusty Rhodes versus Ric Flair in a regular straight-up singles match for the World's Heavyweight Championship. I will say, despite how good the match was, this match annoyed the ever-loving shit out of me because there was some guy in the Dusty Rhodes, woo!
He wouldn't shut up.
It was
And
the
he was
entire
like,
20 minutes, dude. It was so obnoxious.
Every time he would do anything, a move,
Oh my God.
small move, chop, anything, for 20 minutes. Before we get into that, the mood completely shifts when Dusty comes out. There's more lights.
Yeah.
There's more production. There's more colorful lights. When these guys come out, I didn't mention in the crowd too, because they're coming out in the crowd, they just have cops with them, police escorts to the ring, which kind of gives it a
like a fight feel, yeah, like a boxing.
Because you're like, holy shit, like these guys would get fucked up in this if it's in this crowd if they didn't. They had to bring cops with them. Like that's nuts. Dusty's strut when he's mocking Ric Flair, he does his own strut. It is so good. That's pure gold.
Yeah, he's the best. And this match was really fun. It was two of the biggest names in wrestling at the time. I'm pretty
of all time.
Yeah, that's very true. And I'm pretty sure they had been feuding for a really long time before this match. I feel like this was the blow off match to the feud where Flair and the Horsemen broke Dusty's leg, or was that after this? I can't remember.
I have no idea.
There was this famous feud where they like broke his leg and then he was out for a while and he came back. And yeah, I mean, I love the match, but that fucking guy in the front row was so loud and disorienting that they put him in the subtitles.
Yeah. I mean, it's bad when you make the subtitles, but he was drunk, I think, and obnoxious. They should have just give him a front row seat, but move him away from the commentary for Jesus.
Is that where he was?
Christ,
yeah,
right?
he must have. Because
he had to have been like right up in their microphone or something, right behind them. Which is funny because today, I've sat right behind the commentary table and people are screaming all kinds of shit and talking shit. And the wrestlers, even, they put their mic down when they're doing guest commentary. You don't hear any of that. Like the mics were so good now, they only pick up what they're supposed to. But back then, just everything's all over the track. But I wanted to say that Ric Flair in the TV era had already been wrestling for a long time. So we saw him, he was a little bit older already, but when we remember him from WWE and WCW and stuff. But he is in one of the best, like probably the best shape that you'll see him on Peacock in 1985.
Mm-hmm.
Like Ric Flair is in really good physical shape at this point.
Short of like the late 70s where he was like a friggin' meatball, dude. He was so big, like
right
before he became the Nature Boy. Yeah, you just don't see it.
I just haven't seen him a lot back then, if at all. But Dusty's working with a storyline of an injured foot, so they're kind of playing that into the story here.
And he was attacking Flair's leg throughout the match.
Yeah. Flair bleeds massively, which always looks great. Bleach blonde hair is stained in red blood. I mean, that's a classic look for Ric Flair. Mm-hmm. The white hair turning crimson red. There's a great figure 4 reversal spot with Dusty getting out of the figure 4 from Ric Flair. Ole and Arn interfere, almost cost Dusty the match at one point. I don't know, I had a lot of fun. The big American Dream crowd energy,
Yeah, and Dusty won the match with a roll-up, and it looked like he wasn't going to. The ref gets knocked out, there's all this interference. Finally, a second ref comes in and counts the 1, 2, 3.
I was kind of surprised that Dusty would win because I just feel like most of these old Dusty Ric Flair matches that I'd seen, it's usually Flair coming out on top.
Yeah, well, so this is the interesting thing, and I thought they were going to make some mention of this, but he actually, like, if you look at Wikipedia and you look at the results, it's not a clean win. He apparently what happened was they decided that after the fact they were going to overrule it. So Tommy Young was the referee. He was the senior referee in the NWA. And he was the one that was knocked down. And Stu Schwartz was the replacement referee who counted the pin. And later, Tommy Young reversed the decision and awarded Rhodes a victory by DQ because of the interference that he saw from Arn Anderson. And you can actually see in the bottom right corner that Tommy Young is like awake and coherent when Arn is in the ring attacking Dusty, but then gets knocked out by Arn as Dusty is like kicking him out of the ring. So the official record, and I guess they must have talked about this on TV the following week or whatever, is that Dusty wins by DQ, so he does not win the belt.
Fascinating. I guess that's what you would call a Dusty finish, right?
Which must have been so disappointing for the people watching at that time period. Like,
because in his post-match promo, Dusty, obviously he's like the working man, supposed to be the working guy, the everyman. He dedicates it to the auto worker, the textile worker, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And people love that shit because it's kind of a working class crowd, right? But the feed goes dark with a guy yelling, excuse me, coming through, excuse me. So you have more like crowd bullshit on the mic, Yeah. Woo boy finally stops, and then you get excuse me guy,
And that was the end of it. What did Meltzer think of Dusty and Flair?
2 3/4, which I don't agree at all. I'm gonna give that fucking 4.
Yeah, most of his ratings were way off this pay-per-view.
So just to summarize this event, it had 5 total title changes. The Mid-Atlantic Heavyweight title was won, I guess, inaugural champion. Mexican Death Match. Wait, that wasn't a title. No. Why is that in my notes? He won a sombrero, or he
he won a sombrero.
Buddy Landell became the national heavyweight champion. Magnum TA became the U.S. heavyweight champion. Rock and Roll Express became the world tag team champions. Dusty Rhodes, for a brief period of time, the record would be changed later, like you said, but to my knowledge, became the world heavyweight champion that night. And I guess if we're counting only championships, 4 in Atlanta and 1 in Greensboro. So this was my call. I picked this one. You'll be picking the next one. I guess I'll start with my my take on it. We have a little 3-tiered rating system here at Grapple City Rewind. Fast forward, play, or rewind. Fast forward being no good, play being pretty solid but not required viewing, and rewind being the shit was pretty awesome. And with this one, maybe I was just really in the mood for some old time NWA action. I love the grittiness. I love 80s wrestling. I love the style, the seriousness of it all. I was shocked by the blood. I don't need that in everything, but I got a real big kick out of just how sloppy and nasty and wretched this thing became, and the feel of it all. It just hit the spot for me. So I am gonna go ahead, and it had big names, and I just big names, big dudes, big wrestling. I'm gonna go with Rewind. And Aaron, what is your take on Starrcade 1985?
I think I'm gonna go with a play. It was entertaining for sure. I did enjoy seeing some people that I have not seen very often in my tenure as a wrestling fan. But it, as like a start to finish thing, I enjoyed it, but I don't know that I would say it was required viewing. I feel like the good matches were good and the other stuff was just okay. So I'm gonna give it a play.
Before we get going here, we're going to hear a little bit from the Grapple Gang. That's you guys. You can always call us at 626-657-SLAM.
Pick up the phone.
That'll lead you to our Google Voice mail where you can leave a message. Let us know what you think we should cover next, what you agree or disagree with us about. Or you can cut a promo on us. Give us your best menacing promo. Tell Aaron all the bad things you're going to do to him, or tell me what you're going to do to me, or just praise us. That's fine too. If you just like us so much, you want to cut a babyface promo on us, we will take that too. This week, it's been a while since we got to a voicemail. I'm going to go ahead and play this one from Frank.
Hey, Hey guys, this is Frank calling from San Jose. Been watching wrestling for longer than I care to admit, and with January around the corner, I've got some ideas for your show, and I hope you guys might consider taking a look at a Royal Rumble or two. In my view, 1992 was the best Rumble. It had Ric Flair coming in at number 3 and lasting in there all night through to the end. That's about, as close to a perfect match the Royal Rumble ever got. Heenan on commentary on that event is good for some laughs, too. The other one that I always remember is the 1998 Rumble. That was the Attitude Era, of course. So Austin is fighting off the entire roster, and, Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie were in there trying to kill each other before the match even settled in. Anyway, just wanted to pass along my 2 cents. I really enjoy the show. Keep it up, and you all take care now.
Thanks, Frank. Yeah, I'm excited to do some Rumble stuff in January. I know I'm afraid to do like 1992 because once we do it, it's done. And I know that that's probably the best Rumble. But someone asked us to watch 91 also a few months back, so I have that on the list.
98, I watched. That was the one pay-per-view that I purchased as a child, Royal Rumble 98. And I love that one because you get Cactus Jack, Mankind, and Dude Love in the Rumble.
Oh, right. It's that one. It's probably not the one where, no, because Mr. McMahon isn't a thing yet, right? It's not the one where Mr. McMahon hides like in the concession area.
I don't think
comes
so.
back at the end. Yeah, okay. So I mean, yeah, it'll probably be your selection when it happens, but I'll be down if it's this year or next or whatever. We should definitely watch it. I think in January we're gonna start season 2, and in December we're just gonna hit you with a bunch of like fun bonus episodes that are about individual matches. But yeah, keep the correspondence coming. You can always find us across social media at Grapple City Pod, TikTok, Instagram, etc. Also, we are grapplecitypod@gmail.com if you'd rather just send us an email and let us know what's on your mind. Before we get going, this pay-per-view, like I said, was my call. The last pay-per-view we will break down for the year is going to come next for episode 28. Aaron, what's our final pay-per-view that we're going to watch for the year of 2025?
I think we should keep it in the Starrcade family, and we're going to jump ahead 12 years, and we're going to watch the famous or infamous, depending on how you look at it, Starrcade 1997.
Starrcade 97. Wow, that sounds very Hogan heavy.
This is the most famous Starrcade. It is Hogan versus Sting after the year buildup.
I hate you.
Oh, where Sting finally got a hold of Hulk Hogan?
Yep, after that year of never touching, this is the match that everybody was looking forward to and was considered one of the biggest letdowns of all time because it was a terrible finish, and then they trotted Bret Hart out and was like, "No, we're gonna redo the match," and then he was the referee. And
it sounds as wonky as like that WrestleMania we watched from Vegas, the Toga Party Acid Trip episode.
Yeah,
where it had like Hogan and Yokozuna and Bret. No, I'm excited to see that. That's cool. That'll be a good way to finish off the year, and then we'll make sure that we're still around in some capacity with some bonus episodes from there. That's it for this week.
Yeah, that's all she wrote. We will catch y'all in the cheap seats. Adios.